Yo, barbecue church, what's good? Hope y'all chilling. Yeah, there's like thunder outside. It kind of shook me for a second. I was like, wait, what is that noise? It's raining up here. It's raining. So we ain't outside. When I'm recording this, it was the week of Christmas. Hope y'all had a good Christmas, man. It's Christmas, man. Christmas Eve, I smoked, did some jalapeno poppers, did some pork, did some beef, made that carnita style. So I did it first, and then I threw it on the griddle, on the flat top, on that Weber slate. Made some tacos. It was fire. I got the 30-inch slate. At some point, I'm gonna need to upgrade to the 36. But the amount of tortillas you can heat up on that thing is by it. So that was nice. And then we had slated to do some Chinese food on Christmas, but I was gonna make it at the crib, and we had so much food left over that I didn't have to. So I still need to make that Chinese food because that beef is gonna go bad. I'm gonna do some beef and broccoli. You know what I'm about. But I hope y'all are good. Hope y'all had a good time. I got to talk to a couple of the homies over that Christmas time. I found out that a lot of homies are pregnant. I was like, well, not home, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was cool. That's cool. Super dope. So congratulations to all y'all, because some of y'all be watching, and I'm happy for y'all. But anyway, so let's hop in, because right after I do this, I have to edit it, upload it, and then go to church. So that's what we're gonna be on. So I wrote a devotional, and I figure out I'm gonna build a way so that you can like go to a website and then read it, day by day. My homeboy Brown Hornet, who is a computer programmer and a software developer, I'm gonna see if he can throw it up on a website for me, so you can just click through the days and then read the devotional. But it's just one of those hard-hitting devotionals that is just more my style, and I want my people to have something that's us. And so I hit this sermon based off of some of the stuff, because I'm thinking, we look at some of these biblical accounts of what goes on, and then we always see ourselves as the hero and as a good person. But it's kind of like, brother, ain't even you. So, but let's look. So, when we're talking about David and Goliath, so you can read that junk. All right, you can read through David and Goliath. That's that first Samuel 17. All right, y'all go read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. We're on time constraints right now. But everybody loves the story, and everybody sees himself in David, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna crush some giants. The thing is that the king and the Israelites were scared. They were scared. They were fearful. And every day Goliath came out and said, let's run this. And everybody was scared. Everybody was gripped with fear. All right. And all these people were trained. They were trained. They were trained soldiers. That's what they did. They were like, yo, we out here. We fight. That's what we do. They had armor on. They had swords. They had spears and arrows and stuff. Nah. Ain't nobody want to run that fade. Nobody wanted to catch it. So David wasn't the problem. Fear was already winning before David ever showed up. All right. And fear can look spiritual. Fear can look spiritual. People, you can talk faith. They prayed. They waited. They were waiting for God to do something. But the most dangerous place to live is close enough to faith to talk about it, but too scared to act. You be talking about it, but you ain't about it. Waiting on God is not the same as hiding from obedience. All right. I had to sit in that one, man. That's fire. That was fire. Anyway, and Saul had the position of king, but he lost the courage. All right, he had the armor, he had the title, he had the experience, but fear stripped him of his leadership. He wasn't ready to be out there. He wasn't ready to be out there. So what Saul did is he gave a young kid his armor. It was like, yo, run this armor real quick. You need to go out there in the battle. You need to do this. Now, the fact that you as a grown man were ready to let a kid go out there in your armor is something wild. But I digress. But that's wild though. You know, but God didn't call you to wear someone else's armor. Some of you have been shrinking back because the people around you are scared. Because they scared, because they got something to say, because they're afraid. So they're giving you advice based off of their fear. But why are you taking advice of people that are afraid, of people who got armor, of people who got experience, but they don't really run that faith. They don't really run them hands like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't really step out in faith and do the things that God has called them to do. Why are you listening to people like that? Why are you allowing their fear or their lack of faith to control what you do and how you live? So it's need to make some moves. You need to make some moves. Based on who you are. And we ain't talking about slashing on people. We talking about living the life that God has called you to live. We're talking about making some moves. We're talking about making some decisions in your life that are going to shift some things. So David didn't learn courage in the valley. There's so many things that God puts us through and that or that the devil tempts us with, the devil throws in our way, and then we overcome that. And that becomes our story. That becomes our file on like, yo, this is who we are. You know, there are military people watching. They got some experience out there in them streets. They know. It's like, nah, man, God was with me over here. This is what I did. This is what I know. David was running fades with lions and bears. So when it comes to a giant, he's like, man, just another animal, dog. Like, it's whatever, cuz. Like, nothing's as unpredictable as a lion and a bear, and I've already killed them, so what's good? You see what I'm saying? There was no crowd. There was no applause for David in those moments, but that's what he was on. That's what he knew. That's what he did. Private obedience produces public courage. So if you're frozen, ask, why am I scared? What am I supposed to be afraid of? And the giant was never Israel's problem. Fear was the problem. Giants don't destroy people, indecision does. It's the same giant, different day, same excuses. Who are you actually living like right now? Are you living like David, or are you living like the soldiers? That's what we are. Are you living like David, living like the soldiers? Are you looking at where God is what God is taking you through and saying, you know what, God has brought me through this, I'm gonna make it through this. Here are the decisions I need to make to get to where I need to be. Here's some of the hard things I need to do so I can push through. That's what we on. Step up, be the warrior. That's what we on. If you don't have a relationship with God, talk to him. Let him know you want a relationship. Believe that Jesus died, came back, covered sin, make sure that we could have that connection with God. And that's what we on. So, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Y'all need anything, holla at your boy. We out here. I'm going to be trying to put out some stuff. I got a homie that is doing some Cutco. He works for you. Y'all heard about the Cutco knives. My little homie is doing like presentations via Zoom for people and Google Meet for people. And he needs to do a bunch of these presentations so that he can, make some money just off the presentation. And I'm like, so I might hit up some of y'all and be like, hey, yo, listen to this little dude's presentation so he can get his reps in, because he needs to get better at selling. I gave him a bunch of tips, because that's what I be doing. But if any of y'all are willing to talk to the homie and take 30 minutes out of your day to listen to this dude talk about some dope knives, you ain't got to buy nothing, but he's my homie. So anyway, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe. Holla at me if you need me. Gang, gang. Wu-Tang. We outside.